Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into my official NFL Week number 12 picks and predictions, where I go through and predict every single NFL game. And happy Thanksgiving, I guess an early Thanksgiving to everyone. We do have the big triple header beginning right at 12:30. It's the earliest, well, actually it's not the earliest game of the NFL season because of the London games. I guess it's the earliest game in the United States. It is starting before 1 o'clock. You do have Detroit sitting minus 7.5. Detroit, the comeback win against the Bears, little shaky on their defense. I do love the Packers to cover in this one. I think the narrative surrounding Jordan Love has been a lot better. He should be able to move the ball against a Detroit defense that hasn't been great, and they really weren't able to cover that spread last week against Chicago. I will say, when it comes to Thanksgiving Day, normally favorites always cover. I'm kind of going a little bit different here. You can see even the FPI only gives Detroit a 64% chance, signaling the line should be about 4.5, maybe 5. I think Green Bay plus a 7.5, even plus 7 is really good value, even though they are 4-6 at this point. The mid-afternoon 4:30 game, it is Dallas hosting the Commanders. Right now, Dallas sitting minus 10.5. The Commanders coming off that demoralizing loss to the Giants when the Giants were tanking. The Cowboys just look like an absolute juggernaut. I always love the over in this spot whenever Dallas, has this game every single year, 4:30, mid-afternoon Thanksgiving. It always seems to be a higher scoring game. It's in a dome. There's no worries about precipitation or anything like that. And Dallas to cover the 10.5. Big time Thanksgiving favorites always tend to cover. We will take them minus the 10.5 against the Commanders team. They can move the ball, but it feels like they've given up on Ron Rivera. He's probably lasted 2 years too long in that job anyways, considering they haven't done anything the past 4 or 5 years. So with their coaching influx, along with the Cowboys just being a juggernaut, I think they cover. And then the 8:20 game, it is San Francisco traveling to Seattle. The Thanksgiving nightcap. San Francisco on the road sitting 6.5-point favorites. Love the under in this game. And I do like Seattle to cover it. Brock Purdy the last 3 games has been amazing. Brandon Ayuk really emerging. They've got Bosa, Chase Young. I get it. I've been in on San Francisco the last 2 weeks. I said they would cover. They rewarded me. Now I'm kind of turning the tables. I'm saying, listen, you've got a Seattle team at home. They're going to keep it a lower scoring game. Normally the nightcap Thanksgiving game, always lower scoring. The under always seems to hit. So you've got the 4:30 game that normally always goes over, and then the 8:20 game is normally always under. That's kind of how I'm betting that or predicting that. And then how about this money grab? This is Black Friday. Yeah, here's a little Black Friday sale. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, random game that's only on, is it on Amazon Prime or some other streaming service? I don't even know. This game is streaming only. It is Tua Tagovailoa and Miami traveling to East Rutherford to take on the Jets in 40-degree weather. And Zach Wilson finally getting benched. I'm guessing there's going to be a narrative, maybe a little bit of a resurgence for Garrett Wilson. I'm sure he's going to get a lot of targets early. But you do have Miami almost 10-point favorites. I think they win this game easily, even if the Jets maybe with the quarterback change feel energized, score a touchdown on their first drive. I don't think it ends up amounting to much. Aaron Rodgers very likely not coming back for a number of reasons, but you have to take into account they're 4-6 at this point. Very likely to be 4-7. I don't see it. I will take Miami on the road. Even in the cold weather, Miami, warm weather team traveling cold weather, I will take them there. Now we are on to the Sunday afternoon, 1 o'clock window. Here's a divisional matchup. It is Kenny Pickett taking on Jake Browning. The over-under in this game is 35. Right now, it's basically a pick'em. You do have Pittsburgh 1-point favorites. Pittsburgh coming off that loss to Cleveland in basically an identical game as this. I mean, the AFC North quarterbacks, they've been decimated with injuries, but I am going with Cincinnati. This is just a blind pick. I mean, we haven't seen really anything from Jake Browning in terms of NFL action to say that they're going to win this game, but the Steelers, I think, are still due for more losses. They're just not that good of a team. They always get outgained. They have an offense. It seems like every week a new receiver is complaining. This past week it was Deontay Johnson. I have Cincinnati at home. Again, it's one of those games you get a turnover late. It's either way, coin flip. I'll take Cincy, but I'll tell you what's not a coin flip, the under 35 in this game. We saw a crazy low under with the Steelers-Browns, and it still very easily went under. I just don't see these quarterbacks generating much, even with Cincinnati having all those good receivers. Next, we do have a big-time matchup. This is Jacksonville traveling to Houston. Houston sitting at 6-4, Jacksonville 7-3, basically a pick'em. Jacksonville minus 1 point. I did originally pick CJ Stroud and Houston to win this game, but I'm changing it. I'm holding on Trevor Lawrence. Let's think about this maturely. Let's calm down. Jacksonville is the better team. The connection, Trevor Lawrence, Calvin Ridley, the easy win last week against Tennessee. They will hold serve on the road. CJ Stroud's time will come, just not as a rookie in this spot. He's going to play really well. It's going to be higher scoring, but I think Trevor Lawrence makes one more big-time throw, maybe 3 passing touchdowns. This is why we think Trevor Lawrence is a franchise quarterback. You got to go on the road and prove it in a very comfortable spot in a dome in Houston. We love the over in this game. And I think, we'll see if Noah Brown is back for Houston. They've got Dalton Schultz. They've got Tank Dell, Nico Collins. My goodness, what a crazy difference an elite quarterback makes. Could you imagine if they were starting Davis Mills? We would all be thinking Tank Dell, he'd probably have like 200 yards at this point. Dalton Schultz wouldn't be doing anything. Nico Collins, people think he's emerging as a number 1 receiver. It's all because of the quarterback, and they have legitimate weapons now. Devin Singletary, not so much, but he still had a nice game last week. That was kind of a low blow at him. My bad. Moving on, we do have a weird AFC-NFC matchup here. It is Baker Mayfield and Tampa Bay traveling to Indianapolis. Indianapolis, I feel like, is kind of underrated. They have a good roster. Even losing Anthony Richardson, that really took the wind out of their sails. Still a solid team. They're only minus 2.5. I think that's great value. I will take them to win this game easily. Nothing against Tampa Bay. They've got an okay team, but I really think they're going to start dropping games. Indianapolis at home, sitting 5-5 with a capable backup serviceable quarterback. They should win this game. It seems fairly obvious to me, minus the 2.5. Next, this game is miserable. It is the New Orleans Saints traveling to Atlanta. Both of these teams are just, you can flip a coin. It's basically a pick 'em. Atlanta sitting minus 1. Now, you would think with a game like this, are they going to start Jameis Winston? I mean, Jameis Winston did look a lot better than Derek Carr. Derek Carr might be injured. Even if he's not injured, they're probably still going to start Jameis Winston. He had a nice connection with Chris Olave towards the end of that game against Minnesota, and then I believe last week they had a bye. But New Orleans, 57% chance to win. I'm going to take them. I just think Atlanta, their whole thing with their head coach, it's just so weird. It's such a charade to me. And now they're going back to Desmond Ridder. I don't know what to make of Atlanta, but these are the type of games where Atlanta randomly wins. I'm done with it. I'm picking the Saints, even though they've struggled recently. They are still 5-5. They've got a good enough defense to go on the road. It is virtually a pick-em, but I have them. And then a randomly, inexplicably higher scoring game, because I know everyone's going to bet the under, but I don't know. I think it's going to be randomly higher scoring. Next, we've got, remember the Super Bowl rematch? The Patriots taking on the Giants. The Tank Bowl. 2-8 versus 3-8. New England is sitting minus 3 in this game, and if you're the Giants after that win last week, their fan base is really demoralized. They're trying to get Caleb Williams or Drake May. They might have just ruined their chances, and they are very angry. But I do think it's not in the Patriots' DNA to tank. Bill Belichick will try and win this game, and the Giants understand, okay, they actually have to start losing these games. I understand the players are going to try and win, obviously, but there has to be a big-time sediment with the head coach to say, listen, we have to lose these games. I know it's illegal, but still, teams are doing it. You've got to lose. You've got to try and get a top quarterback. I don't think it's in the Patriots' DNA to lose. They can still possibly get Marvin Harrison Jr. if they get a top 5 pick. I've got them winning this one. They are sitting minus 3. Next, we do have Carolina traveling to Tennessee. Tennessee sitting -3.5 right now. Carolina, they do not own their first round pick, so there's no incentive for them to lose this game or try and tank. They are going to be trying to build around Bryce Young, get him more confidence, get him some wins, and then you've got Will Levis. This could be a very nice spot for both of these young quarterbacks to play well in basically a meaningless game. You can see Tennessee sitting -3.5. I will take them to win and cover 27-20. I think 3.5, when you look at Will Levis, his emergence, sure, he's not been great recently, but he's had flashes, and he's at home in a spot against a 1-9 team. 3.5 is decent value with DeAndre Hopkins and the resurgence that he's had. You also do have Derrick Henry. I will take them to cover that spread against a Carolina team. They're going to be trying. They should be competitive in that game. Moving on to the 4 o'clock window, it is the Cleveland Browns sitting at 7-3. DTR, maybe Joe Flacco joins the mix. We'll see. He's on the practice squad. They are taking on Denver. Both of these teams, they're winning. They're winning unconventionally, but they're winning. Denver winners of 4 straight. Very similar line to last week. Last week, Denver was -2.5 at home. They won by 1. This week, they're -2.5. You can see the FPI has the Browns slight favorites, and we know it's going to be a ridiculously low-scoring game. To me, it's just what I saw from DTR in the second half of that game. I honestly thought the Browns had negative yardage in the second half. Every play was negative. They could just not move the ball. And it's nothing against DTR. I know he's a young quarterback. Deshaun Watson obviously getting injured hurts, but it's just hard for me to trust the Browns offense. And then you look at Denver, they're really not an explosive team, but Russell Wilson has been a very good game manager, and he's been very clutch towards the end of the game. So I will take Denver to continue their momentum. The Browns, at some point, the quarterback play is just going to catch up to them, unfortunately. They could still win this game in this spot because their defense is so good. But the other thing that's demoralizing for the Browns, this team, they don't have Deshaun Watson. They don't have Nick Chubb. So they're playing with both of their hands tied behind their back. It is very tough for them. The other 4:05 game, it is the Rams traveling to Arizona. Kyler Murray really looking good. I know they lost last week, only scored 16 points, but I still thought Kyler played well. To me, this is a very high-scoring game, and I love Kyler Murray to win this game at home against Matt Stafford. By the way, Matt Stafford has not been that good this year. I was looking at his numbers. He really hasn't had a breakout game. So I think Matt Stafford comes out, maybe throws 3 touchdowns. I know Cooper Kupp got injured again, but I think the Rams have a good offensive performance. Arizona, though, they will win this game. It's very interesting if you are a Cardinals fan. Honestly, what you're hoping if you are a Cardinals fan, you're hoping Kyler Murray continues to play really well, but you keep losing these games. Imagine getting a really high draft pick while also knowing that Kyler Murray's a franchise quarterback. You want him to play well, but you would love to lose these games. I think they win this game 31-28 in the over hits. Another 4:25 game. It is Kansas City coming off that loss, lower scoring loss at home on Monday night. They will be taking on the Raiders. And to me, 9.5, based on how this Kansas City Chiefs offense is played, is just way too much against a Raiders team who tends to play well at home, especially under their new interim coach. I like the under in this game. Both of these defenses are good. I will take the Chiefs to win outright, but I like the Raiders at home with Devontae Adams, with Josh Jacobs, against a Chiefs team that really lacks an explosiveness that they normally have on offense with the lack of receiving weapons. I know it was the same thing last year, but at some point it catches up to you, and the Chiefs only score 17 points at home on Monday night. They'll win this game, but I don't have them covering the 9.5. And then how about this heavyweight 4:25 game? It is Buffalo traveling to take on the Eagles. The Eagles right now, you could say certainly at 9-1, the best team in the NFL. Philadelphia sitting -3.5. You do have Buffalo as the FPI favorite. There is major value on Buffalo plus the 3.5. The narrative surrounding Buffalo does not match their actual team. This is one of the top 5 offenses in pretty much every statistical category, yet all anyone says is Josh Allen throws, too many interceptions. He leads the league in interceptions. He also leads the league in touchdowns. I think the narrative is completely overblown. Buffalo goes on the road. Stephon Diggs has a breakout 150-yard game because I know he's been quiet. Dalton Kincaid emerging as an elite tight end option for Josh Allen. Josh Allen, the running ability. They will go on the road. They will win. Remember, this is a Philadelphia team. They were terrible in the first half last night on Monday night. I know they ended up winning, but still, they were really shut down. They're due for a loss here. I love Buffalo, the value of the plus 3.5 in that game. Moving on to the Sunday night game, it is the Ravens traveling to SoFi Stadium to take on the Chargers. Baltimore sitting minus 4.5, 8-3 this year. And the Chargers dealing with the head coach issue, possibly firing him. 4-6. I do think this is a self-correction game. The Chargers are at home. They will get this win with Keenan Allen, with Austin Eckler. They cannot run the ball. We understand that. But it's going to be the passing game. Justin Herbert, he's due for a win. He's been so unlucky. The Quentin Johnston drop, inexplicable last week in Lambeau. And then this is a Baltimore team, very solid team, no doubt. They kind of got lucky with Joe Burrow getting injured. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. That would have been a completely different game. They're still solid. They'll drop to 8-4. It's the NFL. You're going to lose games. It's no big deal. And then moving on to the Monday night game, it is Justin Fields. After another breakout game for Fields, coming off being injured, he absolutely lights up Detroit. They should have won that game. Their defense blew it. I knew they would cover the spread and the over would hit. They're on the road in Minnesota, so I would say Chicago with a pretty, big-time QB advantage. Nothing against Josh Dobbs, but Justin Fields is on another level. You can see Minnesota sitting minus 3.5. I would say in a game like this, Chicago and Justin Fields should be able to win it on the road. He should be able to will the Bears to victory. My only question with the Bears, there has to be in the back of their head, considering they're 3-8, imagine if we just lose all these games, kind of like we did last year. We get another top pick. Maybe they end up trading Justin Fields and drafting Caleb Williams. I don't think, Justin Fields, he needs these games. He needs to play well. This is a favorable matchup against Josh Dobbs. I know I keep picking against Josh Dobbs, but it's nothing against him. It's just a situational thing because I can see this game and it feels like the road team is going to win it. Minnesota, I just can't trust them right now. Although I will say the narrative surrounding them with Justin Jefferson coming back, they're sitting very impressive right in the wild card mix. Even with Kirk Cousins being injured, it is impressive. They're going to have a big home field advantage on Monday night for sure. And maybe if Chicago gets down early, they might just quit. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Bears win this game close, maybe by a field goal at the end. But either way, that is going to do it for this video, guys. Make sure you're following me on X. Link to that's always in the description.